You know, I don't know why I wrote the book. I felt a need to do it. I wanted to do it. But the question of why, I think a writer can never really answer. You can answer what, how, when, where, but why is a great mystery. Scarface is when you have many scars on your face, and of course there was the famous gangster they called Scarface. It's both. I tried to capture in this book pleasures and pains. I think since it's a book about the body, in particular my body, you know, when you go through the events of your life, the illnesses you've had, the injuries you've had, every part of my body has been hurt at one time or another. But I'm not the only one. It's true of everybody, I think. And yet, such joys the body can give too. You know, the pleasures of eating well, the pleasures of sex, the pleasures of just sitting in the sun, or sitting in a warm bath when you're tired. You know, all these great physical pleasures, and then all these pains, and life is both. If it were just one, you know, it would be, well, impossible. It's both. I don't know. I don't know. I don't feel that this book is any kind of summation, what I might call a report from now. You know, I started writing the book January 3rd, 2011. It was in the middle of a very harsh winter in New York. Last year was brutal. There was snow and more snow. Almost every week there was a blizzard, and it was very, very cold. And so I started January 3rd, and I just kept writing through all this snow. I mean, this is why I called the thing Winter Journal. And you know, I finished the book in the spring. So it was written in a short period of time. I realized, well, winter had another meaning as well. And I kept thinking about Franz Schubert and the song cycle Winterreise, which is winter journey. And because of winter journey, I decided to call my book Winter Journal, which sounds almost the same. And then I realized that, of course, winter had a metaphorical meaning as well, which I finally reveal in the last sentence of the book. But the book itself is not an exhaustive autobiography. It's a collection of fragments, autobiographical fragments, which I tried to arrange in the way you would make a fugue in music. So there's a statement of an idea, and then another idea. Everything in blocks, separated by spaces. The whole thing, I really feel it's a kind of musical composition. And not just the sentences, but the structure of the book, too. And it's got to be read that way, because there is no continuous narrative. I go back and forth. In one section, I'm 5 years old, and then the next section, I'm 52 years old. And so it's everything happening simultaneously, because in the world of memory, everything is simultaneous. Well, it depends on what society you're talking about. In the United States, still, the family is the center. But there are other cultures. For example, you know, the United States is not very far from the Caribbean, and there are lots of Caribbean people living in New York. And the way the family seems to be structured there is so much more fluid. People tend not to get married, and they have babies with different partners, and the family becomes something quite enormous and all-encompassing. Whereas in America, North America, it's still pretty much what we call the nuclear family. In Europe, things keep changing. People don't get married anymore the way they used to. Somehow the marriage sacrament is not considered very important. Even in the United States, I've just read a statistic the other day that tremendous numbers of babies are born and the parents are not married. Doesn't mean they're not living together, but they're not married. So something is shifting, but exactly in what direction it's going, I can't tell you.